Hello, and welcome to episode 152 of Checkpoint Chat. My name is Alessandro Barbosa. I'm joined, as always, by Matthew Figuera.
I need to think up new intros.
So do I. I feel like mine's getting stale.
No, it's. I mean, that is the intro. Go, hello, it's me, and I'm also joined by this other dude. And I'm always like, I got something to say.
Like, hi. I feel very inadequate with our intros when I watch someone like Tim Geddes introing the Gamecast on Kind of Funny, because holy shit.
What does he
has
do?
Some banging intros. Just like the way he introduces everyone. Everyone's just got a thing. You know what I mean?
My God.
Especially Andy Cortez. It sounds like he's got like a fucking 300-word essay. That
it's the Latino heat.
Clicking
heads,
something.
ripping them to shreds, something, nitro rifle.
It's amazing. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, that whole show has a whole lot of like distinct intros. I mean, Greg Miller. I only listen to the like every now and then the Gamecast, and then just the Kind of Funny show. And they've got a thing for everyone. It's like the best Forbes 30 under 30. Second best baby blues, something. Tim Geddes.
It was really funny because I don't listen to them as much as I used to. Not because I think they're crap. I just don't
drive
get the
as
time
much.
to. Yeah, exactly. I don't listen to as many podcasts as I used to because I'm not driving. But they had Phil Spencer on as a guest.
Oh yeah,
this
I saw
week.
that.
So
that's really cool.
Yeah, I tuned in, and when they got to him, they were like, "An Xbox is Phil Spencer," and he was like, "Oh, I don't get a fancy intro." Like, it was very
put them
funny.
on the spot. Yeah, I think
they're a good podcast. I mean, they're the one. I think I got you onto them, and you were like, "Shit, this stuff is
some good
and
stuff."
They were like a good inspiration for us
for this. Yeah, my favorite was at the E3 we went to. Like, oh, there's Colin from Kind of Funny, or there's Greg, or there's Tim, and I was like, who are these people? I don't know.
Oh yeah, you didn't really know them at the time.
I don't know who these people are, but you're very excited. That's cool. And then like the following is like, damn, I know these people now.
I remember running into Tim Geddes the day after. Yeah, it was the E3 you and I were at, where they had the amazing Sony conference, where they had like Death Stranding and God of War, but most importantly, the revival of Crash Bandicoot. And I knew that was like a big thing for Tim.
Yeah.
So I got to run into him, and we just had like a 30-second moment of like, holy fuck, Crash Bandicoot is back. Can you fucking believe it? It was really fun.
My God.
And I've got a photo with Greg Miller from, is it Gamescom? Might be Gamescom. Or E3, I don't know.
He's really tall.
He is so much taller than I. He's like a whole head taller than me. He's crazy. But really, really nice guy. I ended up running into him by chance as well when I was in San Francisco, because I emailed them to ask if I could come visit their studio, and they very kindly declined. Greg actually emailed me personally, said, sorry, we're just not doing this right now, blah, blah, blah. So, it was really nice. But then they gave me recommendations for places to go eat in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So one of the places I went to was the wing place that he used to talk about constantly on the podcast. Yeah, I don't know if it's still open, but I went there. And as soon as I arrived there, he was there with some other YouTuber recording some other thing about eating wings, which was really funny. Also, that place had amazing wings.
Doesn't he have a photo of himself on that wall as well?
Yeah, I saw that.
Hilarious.
Yeah. That's where they did their like wedding shoot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's called. Is it Wings?
I'm sure it's Wings.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it closed down, which is a real shame. Because
that sucks.
Yeah, I went there once and it was proper fucking good wings, like really, really good.
He likes his wings. Yeah.
I tell you something. Chicken wings in America are just like. There are certain things you eat there that are just like miles better than what you think is good here. Like we have decent wings. Like I don't know. I like wings from like Oroco Mamas. I dig them. I like KFC wings. They're pretty good.
Dunked wings are the way.
Dunked wings.
I have not had those for a long time, actually.
I haven't either for a very long time, but I do like them. They do bad things to my stomach. Like
Nah.
I just have to accept that's the
payoff, the trade-off.
Trade of equivalent exchange that I'm making.
It's how the universe balances things out,
It's exactly that.
Gives you a moment.
But in the States, man, the wings there, they're huge. Firstly, they're just big. And I don't know, the Korean wings that you get there, fucking.
We need to stop talking about wings because now I'm craving like dumplings so hard.
I would love to have wings, but now I've got, if you're only an audio listener, I've got these very attractive, very great braces on my teeth.
Nice.
Second time in my life I've got them because the first time apparently they didn't do them correctly. So for 8 months, it's just going to be a pain to eat certain things.
And
certain things I like peanut butter, which is a problem.
Oh my God. Listen, braces or not, peanut butter is a problem to eat regardless.
Exactly. So with braces, it's just not going to work out.
But so you said they didn't do it properly the first time. How many years did you have them on for the first time?
Only a year, which the orthodontist that I'm seeing now is a different one. He seemed to think that was like way too short. But here's a horror story. So the orthodontist I went to previously, I'm super not a fan. So basically what happened was I had them on for about a year when I was a teenager. And then, as you do, you go in, they check, they're like, cool, we're taking it off. But this place was run like a production line. There was one doctor who owned it, and there was like 9 chairs there, which all had nurses that actually did the braces. He just came and like oversaw things. So obviously he didn't oversee things correctly with me. And halfway through taking off my braces, they realized that one of the front teeth was actually not moved as much as it needed to be. So now they're like halfway through taking this off, and I can hear them debating with each other behind me, like what to do.
Oh my God.
So instead of re-putting them on,
they just took them off.
No, yeah. So they took them off, and what they did, the nurse, she wrapped wire around the tooth and then forcibly tried to move it. I have never, ever been in that much pain in my life. I genuinely recall gripping the chair with my hands, like on movies, where there's like, so they wrapped wire around. They didn't tell me they were going to do this either. They wrapped wire around, and then she was just pulling to try and forcibly move this tooth to close this gap. And obviously
that's not how teeth work.
No, that's not how teeth work, and it didn't work like that. So they must have in the interim got the gap small enough where they thought it was acceptable. Then they put like a one of those retainers that go behind your teeth there to kind of keep it there. But then within a month, that retainer broke because the force of the tooth moving back to where it was like too much. So it was a real fuck up, like a complete fuck up.
Good Lord.
And hence why I have braces again, because I had that gap and I just wanted to rectify it. So that is a
horrific story.
Let me tell you, it's expensive as well.
Shit.
I never realized how expensive braces were until I had to pay for them myself. Like,
and I presume medical aid doesn't cover that because that's like a cosmetic inverted.
No, so medical aid does cover it, but like I'm on a medical aid where I have a limit to how much I can claim. Obviously, so I'm paying quite a bit myself, but. You know what?
Not paying the
full
value.
Once.
Yeah, look, if they do it right the first time, hopefully.
Ideally that'd be great. My sister went to the same orthodontist when we were teenagers, and her teeth came out fine. So I just got the short end of that stick.
You just got the wrong nurse on the wrong day where the doctor wasn't overseeing properly. Why would they try to pull your tooth? In my head, I'm like, there's a reason they don't do that. There's a reason braces exist and that you keep them in for like years at a time because it's
it's slowly moving. You don't just do it in the my mom was pretty livid after I came out and told her that that's what happened, as a parent would be, I assume. But I actually remember you said, I actually forgot about this, which shows how little it kind of like matters in the grand scheme of things. But that when you met Lenska, and by extension, when I met her a few months later, she had braces. I totally forgot about that.
And that was also her second time, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
Also, her and her mom both, I think it must be a genetic thing. They also had like a gap between their two front teeth, and also I think she has a problem with her jaw. So it was just to rectify that. But yeah, when we started dating, she had them, and then she sleeps with a retainer. They
didn't put like a permanent one.
I think she's got both, if I'm not mistaken. But she also has to sleep with a retainer because her teeth move. Like if she doesn't wear it 1 or 2 nights and she puts it in, she goes like, "Oh, it's a bit tight." Like I need to be regular with this.
I know exactly what that.
It's amazing though that the teeth are so persistent. Like I will move.
Yeah, I will get back. Well, it's like at the end of the day, it's an unnatural thing what we're doing to our teeth. It's like we are moving them in a position they were not intended for. So I mean, at the end of the day, if you want perfect teeth, what you do is you go to a cosmetic one and they give you caps that go over your teeth.
Really?
So you don't.
That's so weird.
I mean, the perfect smiles that you see on like very famous people, that's not braces. That's caps that go over their teeth that they can then be sculpted to be look.
How often do you have to replace those? I wonder.
I don't know. Yeah, I genuinely did consider that. But then, then the medical aid straight up does not pay.
Yeah, that's like, nah.
No.
That's straight up cosmetic. I mean,
everyone listening to this is like, wow, Sandy is so vain. Listen, I'm very self-conscious about my teeth.
But I think it's like the one part of the body that arguably is seen most. Like you see it in photos, you see it when you talk to people. Like I think it's normal to be like, hey, I want to have a straight set of teeth or just better looking teeth. So don't worry.
It just used to bug me every time I saw a photo of myself. I was like, ew, So like, I don't give a shit about other people. I'm not going to judge everyone else's teeth. It's just a self-conscious thing. So
can't believe that person's got such skewed teeth. Ugh.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't give a fuck. Like even Shani was like, I really don't think you need braces. And I'm like, I probably don't, but like it's bugging me. So at the end of the day, if it's bugging me, it's never going to stop bugging me.
It's your teeth. You do you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Anyway, let's check my chat. Talk about teeth moves and gaming.
Chicken wings, braces, and games sometimes.
Getting chicken wings stuck in your braces.
Nice.
And the games around them.
The games that you play while you try to pick them out with your tongue.
Oh my God. Hey, listen, when you have braces, you have seconds for days.
Oh,
you're always finding new food.
Can't.
I assume you've never had them.
I've never had braces. I've had the only relatable, the only way I can relate to what you just said about having seconds for days is that I had my, I've had my wisdom sites. I don't know if it was the top to the bottom two. I can't think now. Must have been maybe it must have been the top two. But there's like this weird part of my mouth now that feels like empty because it's not there anymore. But food, like when I had them first taken out, food just collected there and I never realized. And then I discovered, I was like, oh, that's disgusting. I need to pay extra attention when I brush there. It's weird.
Yeah, when I got my wisdoms out, it was the same thing. It's like, oh, there's this like space.
It's just it's like it almost feels. I don't know if it is. It can't be the tooth, right? But it feels like it's part of a tooth or something.
It does, yeah. It feels like there's like bone there almost, but it's like
it's just
there.
Is
space. Definitely,
food just collects in. It's like ugh.
At least you didn't. More horrifying stories, but I won't spend a lot of time on it. When I got mine out, I managed to get food into the open wound. And then it healed over that. And then 2 weeks later, I had a very lovely sore there that had to be operated on. So that was great.
You and dentists just teeth, don't mix.
Yeah. We're just not having great times. Yeah.
Last horror story I'll say, I had mine taken out in the chair.
Oh, fuck no. You and Darren. Darren, I know, always says like, oh, it wasn't that bad. No, fuck you people.
It actually wasn't. Like, legitimately, they numbed me. The most horrifying part of that was hearing, not feeling, hearing them like breaking my teeth.
Because they have to break it. They can't just pull it out.
I didn't feel a thing. But
no, man. No.
Let's talk about games. Let's get off this.
I'm having such a visceral reaction, and I've had like when I had that operation on my eyes, they were literally scraping my fucking cornea with their
that's
tool.
even worse.
But no, the wisdom sounds worse to me. Still way worse to me. Like
shit.
No.
This is a horror intro.
No. I think wisdom's is the only time I've gone under at like a hospital, actually. And I distinctly remember being like, oh, they're gonna give you gas and they're gonna ask you to count down. Fuck. I don't even think I made it to like, I was like 5, 4, just like completely dead.
When I had my tonsils out, I was very little and I had no idea what was going on. But I have a vivid picture of lying down like on the operating table, or whatever, them putting the mask on my face and then waking up however long later, like being wheeled to my ward and sitting up and trying to call for my mom, but I couldn't because I had just had my tonsils out. It was sore.
Oh shit!
So I was like,
shit!
Why does this hurt?
It's like when you've lost your voice and your brain says, okay, I'm going to speak. And then you open your mouth and nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
And it's just like,
it's the worst.
I don't think I've ever had my tonsils out, so I don't know how that feels like, but it doesn't sound like a great time. Yeah. Did you get to eat lots of ice cream?
Yeah. But I was so little, so I don't have, other than that, what I just shared, like I don't have any other horror memories. I mean, that's not really a horror story. That's more an unfortunate.
But anesthesia is super disorientating. Like, you wake up and you just like, oh, what the fuck is happening? Like, what
happened to my tonsils? Give them back. They're mine.
You wake up, you don't have a liver. You're like, fuck.
No, not again. God damn.
Okay, video games. This is the longest preamble we've ever had.
I think it's hands down the longest. What would you like to talk about first? Should we?
So I've been playing, all of this week I've been playing a game I cannot talk about yet. I've been playing Death's Door, which is, by the time you're listening to this, will be out tomorrow, Tuesday, the, 18, 19, 20th. Yeah, I've been playing that. It's if you don't know what it is, so if you watch the trailers, you might think like, oh, this is a Hades, this is a roguelite. It's not. It's more a Bastion. It's more a isometric 3D adventure game with distinct levels, distinct paths, distinct bosses and upgrades. So yeah, it's not a roguelite. You don't have to worry about that. It's made by the same devs who did Titan Souls, which was like a boss rush game.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, and I'm pretty sure I can say this, that it's nowhere near as difficult as that. Like, I'm finding this a fairly reasonable amount of challenging. It's not hard.
Okay.
It's not like pushover easy, but it's not hard at all. I don't
That's
think.
Cool.
I'm having a good time, but I'll talk about that more thoughts. I can divulge. It's beautiful. You should look at the trailers, just based on the trailers.
I've seen the trailer and I am very down for this game.
You play as a crow. It's quite cool.
It's a car simulator.
Yeah.
Scrap.
It's really, really cool. Yeah, scrap.
Okay, so you can't talk about that, but what we can.
But yeah, what we can talk about is I finished finally, to your great relief.
My God, after 4,000 years, the prophecy has come true.
It has felt like that. I finished Final Fantasy VII Remake. So
we never talk about this game in this podcast, but let me tell you.
Never. I think this is the first time we've spoken about it.
Let me tell you, if you have not played Final Fantasy VII Remake, I know my brother is still playing it, but I don't know if he cares for spoilers. But if you haven't played to the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake, we are definitely going to talk about stuff that happens just before credits roll. So if you'd like to bow out for the next 15-20 minutes, I mean, on YouTube,
I'll put the exact timestamp in the description if you're worried about that. But yeah, we are going to talk about things that are
stuff,
spoilers for sure.
Yeah, on YouTube you can just skip to the next section. There are timestamps in the comments.
Put the segments. Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, look away.
This game fucking rocks, man.
It's good.
This game is good.
Now you know if Wired was my game of the year last year. Look, I know Hades was your game of the year, and I don't think anything will change that. But I think you can understand why I had a toss up of like, I really liked Hades, but Final Fantasy VII Remake just spoke to me. I mean, even more so because I mean I'm a big fan of the original, and seeing how they just took that story and just made it real good. Well, not the story per se, but they just took that game and just made it real good. They dressed up that Midgar section into a 30-40 hour experience. It's really, really
with
great.
far less padding than I was expecting, to be entirely honest, because I recall you saying, especially near the like final third, you can feel like it's been stretched out. And I actually felt that more in the like middle section. But at the same time, the stuff that you could consider padding is all optional side quests that you don't need to do.
No.
All the main part stuff is fucking great. I think it's like really, really top notch, start to finish. A real difference from Final Fantasy 15, where I felt the first half of that game was a lot stronger than the second half.
Yeah.
This one just keeps getting better as you go.
Yeah. I mean, well, just for context, so I think 7 Remake has 18 chapters. And I think in 3 of those chapters, you have the option of doing side quests. The rest is just straight up you playing through an epic story.
Very linear. I mean, it's not open world at all until you get to certain parts. Like the side quest parts is like you have a hub where you
it's
like
like I mean, it's like barely open world, to be honest.
And then it seriously opens up at the end where you are literally hopping between all the settlements you've been between. But yeah, I just think it's like really tuned really well. They know what they're going for. They know what story they're trying to tell. And on top of it, they're telling a story that is surprising to people like you who are very familiar with the original source material. Like me, I'm coming from it from a perspective where I know bits and pieces of the original story, but I know I played Crisis Core to completion, so I know that part of the lore. So there's like little bits which I can relate to, but I don't know the overall story, and yet it's still new to me. But at the same time, you got to the end of the game, and I'm sure that ending threw you for like a bit of a loop.
Yeah, it is actually interesting. So just to recap the ending, it's for the most part the game So if you've played the original, you'll know that the remake hits all the same beats, all the while coloring in bits and pieces in between. Like there's a lot of context and more moments for other characters like Jesse and Biggs and Wedge and those people. But what was really confusing throughout the game is that every time you're playing, these weird like ghosts or wraiths constantly pop up, and you're going like, well, this isn't in the original. Like, what the hell are they going for here? Like, what is I mean, even Sephiroth is just there like, hey, what's up? Like,
yeah, he's not really present in the...
You don't see Sephiroth until until like an hour or 2 out of Midgar in the original game. So
That's
to have him present, it's a bit like, well, okay, they kind of have to have him in here, but what are they going for? So the way the game ends, it basically says, this is technically like it's like a multiverse or multi-dimension, whatever you want to call it, or, multiple timelines. You're just playing through a timeline, but Sephiroth knows that there are different timelines. And the reason you're getting flashbacks... It
does seem that way, yeah.
Yeah, the reason you're getting flashbacks from... because there are flashbacks in the game, maybe you didn't pick up on them, but there are flashbacks in the game that allude to stuff that doesn't happen yet. Like Cloud's getting these flashes of things that haven't happened. And it implies like,
especially at the end, it definitely, when you're fighting the literal embodiment of destiny and fate, which is some real fucking Kingdom Hearts bullshit. If I've ever seen anything,
it really is.
It's the most. I was just like, what? We are fighting a big monster that is meant to represent destiny.
Yeah.
It's stupidly meta. I also didn't notice until I read up about it, but the three like sort of caricatures of it that you're fighting, one has a sword, one has a gun, and one fights with the fists. And I was like,
oh, I didn't pick up on that either.
Yeah, and I was just like, someone wrote that like, maybe you're fighting versions of Cloud, Barrett, and Tifa from another timeline. And I'm just like...
So, look, when you say it like that, it sounds dumb. Okay, we get it. It sounds like it's crazy.
It does,
okay.
I get it.
But for someone like me coming in, you kind of know, playing the game, oh, this is going to happen. Oh, I'm going to go to the Honeybee Inn. Oh, this is going to happen. But the way the game ends, it basically says like, okay, Sephiroth knows what's going on. There's different timelines. Your characters are kind of aware of it now. They're going to defeat fate and they're going to write their own story, basically, to stop Sephiroth from winning.
It seems like the other person aware of it is Aerith.
Yes,
to be honest.
she seems aware of it.
She knows.
Yeah. So the reason that's both terrifying and exciting is because it means that we probably will hit very iconic beats that we've seen in the original game. But for all intents and purposes, the second part of this game and beyond is like a blank slate. Like they don't have to at all follow. So I mentioned the rates earlier. The reason they keep popping up is because anytime the story is about to stray from like the source material, inverted commas, those rates pop up to like, no, we're going to steer you on the path back to like how the story should play out. Those dudes are dead now.
Super meta. Yeah.
Yeah. So a good example is right at the beginning, you meet Aerith, like in Midgar, which happens in the original, but you have like one line of dialogue with her. She's just a random person. In this one, her and Cloud have like a whole conversation. It seems like they're about to like walk off together, and the ghosts pull her apart, to stop that from happening. And it happens constantly throughout the game. And before you get to
I think the biggest one was Sephiroth killing Barrett.
Like,
that doesn't happen.
That was
originally.
A complete like, what the hell? And then he's just fine. They're like,
nah. they bring it back. They're like, nope, this is not meant to happen. But like you said, now those rates are gone. So, even at the end, it literally says the unknown journey continues, and it's like, okay, they fucking know what they're doing. Yeah. But I think the biggest thing that was like both confusing and incredibly exciting to me was Zack Fair. Okay, so firstly, Zack Fair is from Crisis Core. I did not know up until fairly recently that he was actually in the original 7. I thought he was just alluded to in 7. I didn't realize there's actual parts
there are actual
you actually see him die.
Yeah, there's one specific scene in particular that a lot of people will miss actually. It's a proper flashback scene where you see him with Cloud on the back of the truck, like on the way to Midgar. And you can easily miss that. But through the original, you do. So Cloud retells the story of, you'll know because you've played Crisis Core, of how they went back to Nibelheim and he was with his mom and with Zack or whatever. Although it's from Zack's perspective. Cloud retells the story, and only late in the game, like, this is actually the story of Zack, and Cloud's just.
Is that when Cloud has finally realized he was like embodying Zack?
Yes, yeah.
In his
so
psyche,
there's this moment that happens. So at the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake, you see Zack. You see
a shot-for-shot remake of the ending of Crisis Core, by the way.
Yeah, which is
really, really well done. Yeah.
And so, spoiler alerts, at the end of Crisis Core, Zack dies. He gives up his life to protect Cloud, and then Cloud, having being subject to Mako poisoning, has like severe amnesia, picks up the sword, makes his way to Midgar. Hello, cue the intro of Final Fantasy VII.
He basically has like a psyche break.
Yeah.
And he takes on the persona of Zack without really taking the name.
Yeah.
Cloud was never soldier first class. Zack was, for instance. Yeah.
So at the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake, you see this whole thing of, they're showing the part where Zack protects Cloud, blah, blah, blah. Except in this timeline or universe or whatever you want to call it, Zack survives and him and Cloud start walking toward Midgar, and you're like, okay,
fucking crazy.
What are they doing here? Like, what's going on?
It was
here?
interesting because during that whole sequence, you can see the wraiths in the background, like circling Midgar. So it's clearly you're busy fighting destiny, so to speak, while this is happening in another timeline. And there was another hint that it was a completely separate timeline that I missed. But there's a wrapper for like a snack or whatever that blows past Zack, and it like pauses on the camera.
Yeah, it's so do you remember? So that alludes
to
the
dog.
Yeah, what's his name? I can't remember his name. But in the remake, the one chapter is you following these posters, to get into one of the reactors, and they make a point of showing you this poster throughout that chapter. And then obviously at the
end,
like
a dog with an army hat.
Yeah. Then at the end, when you see the poster blow past, you're like, oh, it's obviously same idea, but it's a different dog.
It's a different type of dog.
Yeah, so it's like
it's a very clear indicator, like this is a parallel universe type of thing. But then when Cloud and Aerith and Barrett and Tifa are all leaving Midgard at the end of Remake, Zack in that other timeline is walking towards Midgard with Cloud, and it's very clear that Aerith can sense him.
Yes.
So I don't know, man. I don't know if this means they're going to somehow merge these two timelines or just play with like multiverse shenanigans going forward. Like, I can't believe that they wouldn't have a section where you don't play as Zack at this point. Especially if they've made a point of like he's alive. You know what I mean?
So, but as a long-time fan, that's why it's very exciting, but also equally terrifying, because it's a thing of I kind of want them to not like don't fuck up the source material, but also do something different, which they're clearly doing. So I'm like, I don't know how you're going to balance it, but I'm here for it.
Like, yeah, like I get the perspective, like especially for someone like you who reveres the original so much, like please don't mess with the original. This is a remake, But at the same time, I think if you're going to do a remake, especially on this scale, essentially what's going to be, I mean, they haven't said it's going to be 3 games, but at this point, I assume it will be 3.
I think it's 3. And like, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if for some reason it becomes 4. Like in my head, I don't know. There's just
I definitely don't think it's just going to be 2.
No,
like,
no, 2's way too little.
It's way too small, But like, if you're going to be doing this, I think having fun with the source material for a game that is like over 20 years old now, I think that's totally fine, and I think it's very fun because I do think that if you had no idea, if you had no context for either Crisis Core or 7, the ending would be so confusing.
You have to go read up to understand what the hell's going on.
Because they're like, who's this dude with black hair that's got Cloud Sword? Why the fuck are they fighting these ghost things? What does any of this mean? Like, it's such a bizarre ending to a game that is fairly straightforward up until that point.
Yeah. Well, I guess you can see now why the ending was very controversial, because some longtime fans were either like, oh my God, don't change it, or going like scratching their head going like, what are they going to do? Or newcomers are like, that game was great. What the hell just happened?
What was that ending?
What's going on?
Strange ending.
So I think that I really do think that the next few games, that they will definitely hit the key beats. Like maybe the journey will be different, but I firmly believe that there will be, these highlight moments that happen in the original, but just they'll still happen to some degree, but getting there will just be different. Like I still believe that Aerith will die.
I was literally about to ask you that. I'm like, do they still kill Aerith?
I do think that it's such an iconic moment from the original, and I do think like, it's exciting to imagine that, she doesn't have to die now because they've obviously rewriting history or the future, or however you want to put it. But I do still think that some events or there'll be some reason that it still happens. I don't think they'll take the moment away.
I agree with you. It's like, I mean, her dying is one of the most iconic moments in all of gaming. Not because of like, her death is significant. It's just like incredibly shocking. It was
shocking. That sort of thing didn't happen.
It comes out of nowhere. Yeah. And she's like a core party member up until that point. So
she's also incredibly nice. It's very sad.
She's lovely. Yeah. So I tend to agree with you. I think, that's something what I think they will do, because part of that moment being so memorable is because, like you said, right now it is shocking. So I reckon they change where it happens.
Yeah, it'll happen, but
it's not going to happen where you expect it to. So it's gonna. I mean, when Sephiroth stabbed Barrett, I was like, "Whoa!
You're like,
what is going on?" Yeah, like I don't recall this happening at all. And for a moment, I was like, "Oh God, okay, they're going to kill." They're
going with it, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to kill Barrett instead of Aerith in this thing, but. So, I think the fact that you, as someone versed with the source material, can still be excited about the twists and turns is amazing. I think they're doing the correct thing with the remake then. But being very careful about it, in my view.
Oh,
you know, they are taking care with the moments that people will want to recognize and tweaking things that might be fun to tweak.
Exactly. So now that the scary thing over and above that is that Midgar is very much the first part of the original game, which was also just straight up linear. But the moment you get out of Midgar, that's like the inverted commas open world stuff, where you've got an overworld map and everything. That's where the second game takes place. And I'm like, how are they going to do that? Like, how open world is this going to be? Or are they going to keep it in the same sort of degree of it's chapter by chapter, very linear. You're going from place to place, which at the end of the day, the original games are still linear. Like they're just dressed up differently. But I'm excited to see now you're out of Midgar. Like, how do you handle the open world stuff?
Do you come back to Midgar in the original?
You can. You don't have. It's not story critical, but you can come back to it. So yeah, even that. Like, do you get to go back to Midgar just to visit the areas?
It definitely feels like the ending to this sets up like stuff in Midgar is not finished.
Yeah,
like you've got President Shinra's son taking over. You still got Hojo and Heidinger like still doing their thing. So you see that this is where my knowledge of the original like kind of ends. Like in the original, is Shinra still a threat after you leave Midgar, or has it moved on to this is a planet thing?
No, Shinra's like a constant threat throughout the game. Because remember, in the original, you didn't know about Sephiroth until later. Like, you really don't.
But Sephiroth's his own kind of thing. He doesn't give a fuck about Shinra, really.
No, he's just there. So in the original, like, you leave Midgar, you go to a town, and that's where Cloud... So in the original, the same thing happens where you see the president's been murdered, right? He's got the Sephiroth sword through his back, whatever. And in the original, people are like, that sword belongs to Sephiroth. And you're like, who the fuck is this guy? I've never heard of this character in my life, you know? And then the first time you get into outside of Midgar, that's where Cloud's like, okay, I'm going to tell you guys about Sephiroth. And that's where he tells, you know, insert crisis call of like, this is what happened in my hometown. Sephiroth was this,
because obviously he remembers.
Yeah, Sephiroth was this really, really like incredible soldier who did incredible things, who like went crazy basically. And that's you're like, oh, this is who Sephiroth is. But you know, we need to kind of figure out what he's up to, but also Shinra are still around doing Shinra things. So you don't worry, you'll definitely see Hojo and Heidegger and all these other people.
And like you have like Scarlet, who I want to know more about. Like they have a moment there where she's experimenting with materia and shit definitely goes wrong, and she just like leaves the room while people die in there, and you never know what that is about.
Yeah.
Like there's no indication
there
of what the
are
fuck.
Such good moments from the original that I cannot wait for you. Like, well, for both of us to like, because I don't know what they're gonna do, but I know. Like, I firmly believe there will be those landmark moments that will feature in some way. And then, I mean, we've got all these other characters to look forward to. Like, you've
Red, man.
You've had a taste of Red, like Red.
Oh.
So in the original, all the characters have, you know, the game sort of touches on their backstory or whatever, and to some degree. Like, Red still has one of the, when you go to his town, Cosmo Canyon, that is one of my favorites, like, just gaming stories ever. Like what happened to him, why he is who he is, what happened to his family.
I love him.
So good.
I think the voice actor for him is absolutely perfect. Spot on. I looked up the voice actor, and he was in another game that we couldn't believe, and I've forgotten it now.
I know.
Anyway. I remember telling you, and you're like, wow, he has so much range. I've forgotten now. But yeah, just like spots on voice acting, just such a good. I mean, he comes in like the second last or third last chapter of the game, and by the end of the game, like he feels like he's been there the entire time. It's just
he's
his
got a good, really
so
good presence.
Yeah, very, very good. And also just very immediately like playful within the party, like ribbing on Barrett and. And shit like that, like hitting Barrett with his fire tail and crap. Oh, it's just very funny. Good. I think it's very good.
This game is real good. Like, I don't know if the second or third or whatever ones will hold up or how they'll play out, but I'm just
it's a high bar to meet.
Yeah, it is, but I'm so glad we got this part of the remake. It is just like I'll definitely replay it in however many years because shit, it's just great.
I think what you said rings true now. The introduction to that game, the first hour and a half, is so high quality that you're just like, how the fuck is this maintained through the whole game? There's no way, and it genuinely
and it is
like
that's what blew me away, because that demo, it really was a concern of like, cool, this is really amazing. Holy shit, I can't believe this one boss fight has so many camera angles and it's so cinematic, and there's no ways they can carry this for 30 hours.
The demo felt like, like when you see those trailers of fan remakes for games and you see the first like 30 minutes, you're like, damn, that's amazing. But then the game never comes out because like so much effort has gone into that half an hour that there's no way you can keep that over like 20 hours. But like that's essentially what Remake is. It is that, stretched over 30 hours, or my playthrough ended up being about 35. Which is very funny considering I got to chapter 9 in like 9 hours.
Yeah,
and then it suddenly became not bogged down, but like it slows down. In terms of chapter count. Was Corneo in the original one?
Yeah,
Don Corneo. Fuck, just such
a
bizarre
honestly,
character.
Like, remember this game very much like it meets all those key moments just with a lot of filler stuff in between. So that whole honey look, there's no dancing section in the original in the honeybee inn, but that whole mission of you need to get a dress to get into Corneo's mansion to find out what's going on, to him putting you into the basement, like all of that happens in the original. It's just done
just like much more condensed, because I actually remember playing in the original. I distinctly remember when you meet Aerith, you're in like a scrapyard trying to get back to Sector 7. And I remember in the original, the backgrounds in the original, those painted backgrounds, which still look beautiful. But I remember seeing the like robot arms that you walk across, and I'm like, oh my God, that's even like represented here. It's so good.
I'd be curious because like I think the original, despite its looks, still very much holds up as a JRPG. Very fun to play. Yeah. I'd be curious.
It's very hard, if I recall. Like it's a really hard game.
It's not too, like if you understand the game, it's not too bad. Like if you know what material to use, how to build up your party. I'd be curious to know what someone like you or anyone else who's played Remake thinks now, going back to the original. If you were to play it, to go like, I can't wait. I need to know what happens in the story. You played.
I'm genuinely tempted, to be honest. Like genuinely,
because you could just do the Midgar section. It'll take you like 8 to 10 hours. You go like, oh damn, they really did hit all the key beats. Yeah, it's a good time. I love this game, and I think
it's fantastic. Yeah,
I'll tell you, we're not going to talk about it for a long time, but I'm currently busy with the DLC, so expect.
Yeah, I do. You see, I want to play the DLC now. I don't know if I'll do a platinum run because like.
It's
I do want to do it.
Yeah,
it's a big time investment. Like maybe when I have nothing else to play. But yeah, we'll see.
So yeah, that's Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm so glad you finished it. Finally. I had to hold out for a year and telling you that, oh hey, you see Zach.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of knew you saw him because I think it was in one of the trailers. You see like a shot of like Midgar in the distance, and you just see the boots, and I was like, oh, that's Zach. But I was under the assumption that it was like whatever. We're just going to see a very high production death scene essentially again. For him to be alive, I was like, oh God, okay,
it's crazy.
They would be silly not to put parts of Crisis Core into this. Like, you don't need to remake the whole of Crisis Core. The whole of Crisis Core is a lot of fucking filler. Like, it really is. But you could definitely put in, like, the last few moments of Crisis Core as a playable flashback chapter.
Yeah, like just a chapter. No, I agree. And I mean, you've got the combat. You could literally 1-for-1 copy Cloud's combat.
Yeah,
put Zach in a chapter.
Same,
yeah. So we'll see. They could. You never know.
Oh
yeah,
God! My heart is not ready for if they merge these two timelines and like Aerith and Zack get to meet each other again. I can't.
And then they both die.
I can't. No.
Can't deal with it.
They're so beautiful together. I love them so much.
They're good. They're good.
Yeah. Okay. What else have you been playing this week?
So we spent a lot of time on that. Let me briefly touch on Monster Hunter Stories. So I've been playing Monstie. I've been hunting some Monsties. So I'm about 8 to 9 hours in now. And let me tell you, so remember when I spoke about this last week, I'd literally watched the opening cinematic, right? And I still told you, like, it's a different setting and different mantra here because these people ride the monsters and they seem to be upset about, these other hunters coming to attack their guardian of the island, the Rathalos, whatever. I was like, maybe you don't kill monsters in this game. Like, I don't know what I expected. You kill monsters in this game and then some. Okay.
Do you make gear out of their skin again?
You definitely do. So this game, for all intents and purposes, is like the baby of Monster Hunter in terms of the lore and the monsters and a franchise like Pokemon.
Okay.
Because you essentially you hatch monsters and you ride them and use them in battle. Except the difference here is like in Pokemon, you have a monster out at a time. You are fighting alongside your monster and you get to, ride them to do special moves. But the reason I laugh though is because last week I was like, oh, maybe they don't kill monsters. In this game, it very much follows that same Monster Hunter formula of, okay, you've seen this monster, you kill them, you hunt them, you get their parts, you can turn them into a weapon or armor, like straight up.
Nice.
But even worse than that is that you can enter monster dens and steal their eggs to hatch, to have your own monster. So not only are you murdering these poor monsters, you're stealing their babies as well. And that is your face
is awful. This is horrible.
It's straight up like, yeah.
They make it all cute in anime because they don't want to show you what a monster you are.
Exactly. You are the true monster in this Monster Hunter.
Holy shit.
The story is that you are a monster. Okay. No, but listen, God. It's essentially, I mean, we all know this, but it's a JRPG spin on the Monster Hunter formula. And I'm still early days. I don't think the story is anything to write home about. Like same problem Monster Hunter Rise had. It's very much a dressing and an excuse for you to just go into the world and just hunt stuff. It's turn-based and it's good fun. I'm enjoying it.
Is it you made the comparison to Pokemon? Is the combat similar to like a Pokemon?
So
do you have like two monsters out at a time or something like that?
So if you've seen footage, you often have there's someone with you with their monster. It's usually like an AI controlled person. It's another rider and their monster. You don't get to control them. And I don't know how long they stick around for. I assume they keep them in now the early stages as like padding because they offer healing and they support you, whatever. But yeah, even your monster, you can issue commands, but you don't have to. You could just straight up control your character and the monster does their own thing. Or you can tell them
so you as a rider have ability. Oh, duh. Yeah. You're like a monster hunter. Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm thinking of it as like a trainer and a monster.
Oh, no. Yeah. You do actually fight. And so the entire weapon suite from Monster Hunter isn't there. Like, so I think the main game has like 13 or 14 weapon types. If I'm not mistaken, unless they're planning on introducing them later, I don't think so. But this game has, I think, 6 weapon types. Like you have, you've got your, you've got a light bow and arrow. You've got like the hunting horn. You've got the hammer. There's a few iconic weapon types in this game, but not all of them. And they all have their, it's funny how it follows the same sort of ideas of Monster Hunter, but it dresses it up as a turn-based JRPG. So in the original Monster Hunter, you know that if you want to, stun a monster, you should take a hammer and hit them in the head, for example. In this game, it's the same thing of like, you can switch weapons during combat to benefit you in certain ways. So like if you're targeting the head, you should have your hammer out. If you're targeting the tail, you should have a sword out. So it's funny because it just really has the same DNA, but it's a different kind of game completely.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I'm still early days, and I am enjoying it. I'm just grinding up, getting some eggs. Just trading up some monsters,
as one does,
as one does.
Just partaking in some monster genocide.
Casual.
I
did laugh.
It's just a Saturday for me.
I was like, as if killing them wasn't enough. You're gonna go steal their eggs.
My goodness. And then raise their children and be like,
and then raise their children to hunt their parents. I mean, like, what is this?
That is so much worse than like, oh, you are hunting the monsters and making weapons out of their body parts to hunt more of them. It's like, nah, I'm gonna weaponize their children, their lineage against them. Oh my God.
But let me tell you,
Monster Hunter.
It is good fun though.
You fucked up. You're real fucked up, Capcom.
Yeah, look.
My God.
Good thing it's a game. Because if this happened in IRL, there'd be some serious problems.
I mean, it's just like Pokemon. It's like Pokemon is like cute dogfighting at the end of the day.
Exactly. Yeah, Pokemon's this like child-friendly game. But if you look at it through the lens, like, damn, this is some real weird shit happening right now. What do the Pokemon get? Nothing. They live in a ball.
No, you're putting them in a ball, and there's propaganda that tells you it's a paradise in the ball. Do you know that? No,
we don't know.
No one fucking knows. Yeah, might be a prison in there. They might get put in the ball and put up in chains and fed scraps of bread. You don't know that.
Just to survive. And then they
have you been in a Pokeball? No,
never.
Exactly.
But I am looking forward to spending more time in this world. Not necessarily for the story, because I don't know. It's not great.
Yeah, the whole Monster Hunter lore is never really. Granted, I've only rarely dug into Rise mostly, but the whole lore surrounding it doesn't really hook me in a way. Like I watched that the trailer for the animated movie for Monster Hunter coming to Netflix, and it's the same thing. I'm like, yeah, the fights look cool, but like I could not care about the overall lineage of the monsters or the Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
And it seems like people who play these games religiously are more about like, oh damn, they've got this monster from this game in here, not like what the story implications of this monster means.
Yeah. I mean, this one, I'm more playing of like, oh, like I wonder if this game has a Zenoga, for example, because that is one of my favorite monster fights in Rise.
Oh, what? Cool. Sorry?
Zenoga.
Oh, Zenoga. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, does this game have a Zenoga? And more importantly, can I find an egg and use it, as a party member?
Can I weaponize its children?
Can I weaponize it? That's what's happening right now. So early days.
Your priorities are straight. It's good.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm going to spend more time with that. But I'll obviously touch on that again. Either next week or beyond.
It looks quite pretty as well. Does it?
It runs fine on the Switch, but there are certain parts where the frame rate like dips horrendously. And I think because this game wasn't made exclusively for the Switch. I mean, you can play it on PC.
It's on PC. Yeah.
So look, for all intents and purposes, it runs on Switch, and I haven't had any glaring issues. But yeah, it does have moments where, like, there's one village hub in particular where I just think there's a lot going on. If you swivel that camera, there's just like insane frame dip. And I'm like, ooh, that's not cool. Yeah, but otherwise it runs fine. Like there's no issue at all.
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's Monster Hunter.
Should we move on to game releases?
Yes, let's do it.
Can you believe we are looking at games within the 20s of July already? Absolute madness.
Can't believe.
So we are looking at games from today, July 17th, all the way up until July 23rd. Quite a few big uns, I'd say, this week, especially if you have been paying attention to big hitters in the indie scene. So firstly, we've got Fallen Knight coming to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. The game I'm most excited about this week, purely because I haven't touched it yet, Chris Tales, which is a sort of like JRPG-ish vibe, but it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's made by a Filipino studio. It's got a gorgeous art style.
It's very pretty, yeah.
One of the most incredible art styles I've seen in a very long time. And that's mostly why I want to play this game. It just looks also like a lot of fun. So, yeah, that's out on basically everything. PC, PS, PlayStations, Xboxes, Switch, and
all
even
of the
Stadia.
things.
Yeah. So that's out July 20th. Also on July 20th, Death's Door, which I've
it's a little game you're playing.
Yeah, that's only on PC and your Xbox consoles. I did not know that.
Not even PlayStation. Do you think it would run on Switch?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think it will run on Switch. I assume this is some exclusive deal, so I wonder if this actually means it's on Game Pass.
I
don't know. The Witcher Monster Slayer, which is CD Projekt Red's take on Pokemon Go.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
gotta hunt them all.
So
The Witcher.
Good lord. That's out on iOS and Android officially July 21st. Also July 21st, we've got Pokemon Unite. So this is weird because when I first saw this game, I was like, oh, okay, it's a MOBA, but Pokemon. But then I saw the trailer this week, the launch trailer. And I was like, wait, this is a MOBA, but also basketball. Because the Pokemon were grabbing balls and having to score.
Yeah.
I'm super confused what this game is now. Like, I have no idea what.
Why does this say July 21st / September?
Oh, okay. So July 21st is the Switch release date. September, it will be coming to Android and iOS.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are too many games. I can't.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like to try this, but good lord, where's the time?
You should stream it instead of Dota. Get Cello to play Pokemon MOBA.
Pokemon.
Who will he main Pikachu?
Pikachu mains
it is free to play as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah. Then on July 22nd, we got Urban Trial Tricky, PC, Xbox One, and PS4. And then on July 23rd, Orcs Must Die 3. So this was previously exclusive to Google Stadia when Stadia launched.
Right.
But now it's coming to basically everything. PC, all the PlayStations, the Xboxes, the works, which is cool. Orcs Must Die is one of those franchises I've always heard of, like, and known of on the periphery, but never, like, dived into.
Yeah.
Seems like it's a mix of, like, third-person action and tower defense, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So, yeah. It's cool that if you loved the series and were, like, bummed that it was exclusive to Stadia, you can now.
You can play it now, yeah.
Play it now, yeah. And we still got bangers for the rest of July. We've got the sequel to The World Ends With You.
Good lord.
We've got Flight Sim on Xbox.
I'm curious to see how this runs.
Yeah.
Because apparently, I think there's an update
upgrades
on PC recently which, like, stupidly, like, optimized the game in a stupidly good way. Like, it runs a lot better now, which I imagine
the game was always CPU limited, like heavily CPU limited. So it seems like they did a lot of work there, which I'm sure they had to do for the consoles.
For the consoles, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. The Ascent is also coming out. That, like, twin stick shooter that's on Game Pass. I'm very keen for that. So, yeah, big games. Big games.
And then next month, look at this.
This month. Oh, yeah.
Bridge of Spirits.
I've seen very little gameplay of
Me
that
too.
game.
I really hope it's good.
Yeah, I'm like excited for it, but I see that it's only a $40 game, so it's going to be a lot smaller in scope than I think people expect, and also just like haven't seen much of it, which is kind of strange.
I just had my fingers crossed. I'm like, it's okay. It can be short. It doesn't have to be long, but just be good.
It can be short. I don't care about that, but like, please be good. Yeah,
please.
Yeah, there's actually quite a bit in August as well. I mean, we've got that. We've got that Aliens Left 4 Dead thing.
By Team Elite.
We've got Psychonauts 2.
Ghost
No
of
More
Tsushima.
Heroes 3. Like,
Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. There's a
bunch. Got the Game of the Year, Kiwi.
Kiwi.
Spelled
Kiwi?
Keywe.
Kiwi.
But you play as an actual kiwi bird, which I think is super funny.
Oh my god. And then we've got Deathloop. And then Back for Blood. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Okay. And now we're in 2022.
How did this happen?
Holy shit. How did this happen?
Let us get gaming news. All of this week's gaming news.
A week of new platforms and many delays.
New platforms, a surprise new platform in the form of, not a new platform, but so much as a portable Steam machine. Who knew? This is a completely, I don't know if there were any rumors about this, because in my head, I did not expect this at all.
I think the only thing that was, I recall earlier this year, Gabe Newell, who is now, I guess, just living permanently in New Zealand or Australia, where he was in one of those Australasian countries when COVID hit, and he's just kind of like chilled there since. But I recall he was at a school or a university giving an interview, and he said that the future of Steam is coming later this year, and it will surprise people. And that's what he said.
Maybe this is what he was referring to then. Okay.
Yeah. So, I assume this is what he was referring to. So, if you haven't seen the announcement, it's basically a Switch-ish type of device called the Steam Deck. But I guess the biggest difference is that it is a PC. So, it ships with SteamOS, which runs on a flavor of Linux. But Valve says you can uninstall that and just install straight up Windows on this thing and do whatever the fuck you want. It is an open platform, which makes it a very different beast to the Nintendo Switch, because you could potentially do things on this hardware that, games can't be optimized for the Steam Deck, because the Steam Deck is just hardware. It doesn't know what operating system or software is running on it, if that makes sense. But in terms of specs, it's fairly similar to the Switch. It's got a 7-inch screen, which is the same as the Switch OLED model, although the resolution is slightly different. It's a 16:10 aspect ratio, so just slightly taller. It is an LCD screen, so not OLED. So, boo.
Take that.
It's got 2 thumbsticks very high up the device.
They
and they're
are
symmetrical, which I don't
incredibly
like.
high, those thumbsticks.
Yeah, they're very high. And then the D-pad's like next to it on the left, which is... Listen, the layouts of this thing looks like it was made just to accommodate the 2 touch pads that are below
at the bottom,
the 2 thumbsticks, which are apparently an iteration of the tech found on the Steam controller. And I get why they have to put this in. Some PC games are better played with a mouse, like if you're playing Anno or Civilization or something of that ilk. But it does make the actual controller layout look weird. Like the 4 face buttons look so cramped on the side.
They really do on the side, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It looks like the B button is like bleeding off the edge of the damn thing. Like
it is. It's falling off. But I think I've seen the back. It looks like it. I think it will be comfortable to hold regardless, because like the back looks almost sculpted. But just at first glance, it's weird. Like those buttons are super high, and I'm like, I've got big hands, so I don't see an issue. But if you've got teeny hands, like, is it going to be comfortable to hold them so high up? I mean, I don't know.
But I agree with you regarding the back. The back looks. I mean, the Switch is flat, and that's why it's so uncomfortable sometimes. But the back is sculpted. It's also got way more buttons. It's got there's like shoulder buttons like you see on like the Xbox Elite controller, stuff like that. Also, the triggers are analog; they're not digital, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
Having them as analog means that games that make use of half presses and whatever can use that functionality. Yeah, I mean, listen, the hardware itself looks solid. It is Valve hardware. They've been trying to get in the hardware game for ages now, and I feel like, the Steam controller missed, Steam machines missed. But their VR stuff has been fucking great. Very expensive, but very good. So I mean, this looks good. I'm just, I just hope people temper their expectations of what this thing can kind of do. So it's running off an AMD GPU and CPU or APU combination. And thankfully it's using RDNA 2. So that's the latest graphics architecture from AMD that's actually present in the Xbox Series X and PS5. So that's that's positive. It's got modern guts in there.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But like, will this run? Like in the video, they say you can dock this. There is a dock that you can buy. I don't think it actually comes included.
I don't think it does, yeah.
Yeah, you can dock this and put it on a monitor and whatever, but like, will that even run at 1080p? Probably not. This seems more designed to run at the much smaller resolution screen, especially if you're playing modern games like Jedi Fallen Order or Control, like they advertise on this. And then it's also quite expensive. Like, it starts at $400 for the 64 gig version, and I would super not recommend that because it uses a form of memory called eMMC, which is super slow. Yeah, if you can avoid that, just avoid it. And then the two options above that, the 256 gigabyte and 512 gigabyte versions come with NVMe SSDs, but those go for $530 and $650 respectively. That's a lot of fucking money. For a device
it's just a little bit of money, It's just.
I mean, you it's $150 more than your next gen consoles.
Yeah.
No, wait, hold on. They're $500, right?
Yeah. So you're right. So the 650 it's more expensive than Xbox Series X or PS5.
And it's like, yeah, you can play your Steam games on the go. That's cool. But like, I'm like just puzzled as to who this is for. Like, I think we were saying before the show, before we started recording, both of us would buy this. I will buy this, like, if we could, because it's not available in South Africa, like all Steam hardware. I would definitely buy this because it seems like a cool platform. I have a lot of Steam games that make use of this, and I could see instances where I want to play a game that is maybe not on Switch or is better suited on this device.
Yeah.
But the Switch, people will immediately want to compare this to the Switch. And I think that does the Steam Deck a disservice because it will never compete with the Switch. The Switch has your Nintendo exclusives. It is a platform that just works. So users don't need to worry about, will this game run on Linux or will I have to install Windows, stuff like that. And then on top of it, the Switch has games that are optimized for that hardware. This is running PC games that are optimized for a range of hardware. There will be no Steam Deck version of a game. This to me is for people who have an existing large Steam library and are already used to the idiosyncrasies of fucking around with PC gaming, which is a 50% fun and 50% frustrating experience, It is a tinkerer's toy in that regard. So yeah, I think if you go in with those expectations, you'll probably enjoy it. You'll be like, this is a thing that will not run games nearly as well as my PC in my bedroom, but hey, I can play this thing in bed. But I can take them anywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Look, I mean, just exactly what you said. It's a thing of I'd love to have one, but I do not need one. Like,
100%.
Even I think it might be even just thinking about the target market, like maybe people who just don't have PCs. Like, cool, this is it's for all intents and purposes a PC console that you can buy a dock for your TV if you want to have it in your lounge, whatever. But like you said, those same people are maybe not versed in actual PC shenanigans where you might have to jump into the settings to tweak around to get the best performance, or you might, I know some friends of mine, for example, like visual snobs, they'll maybe pick this up, for example, go, oh man, this is awesome, but I can only run things on low to medium. Like,
yeah.
Is it worth it?
Like,
I don't know.
If you're hooking this up to an external display, like, I think if you're thinking of playing games at anything above 1080p and 30 frames per second, you're going to be very shocked.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, they're advertising this. I mean, we're looking now at Jedi Fallen Order. I do not expect a portable to run that extremely well.
No.
And it's why a lot of AAA games on the Switch, even, like Control on the Switch is a streaming title. So, these are games that test full on desktops. You can't expect a portable thing to run this really well. But I'm curious to see this in the wild. I think new hardware is always fun. So yeah. Also, this thing is huge.
It's
I was writing I was writing up specs for this yesterday on GameSpot, and the thing that jumped out at me firstly was the weight. So the Nintendo Switch is about 300 grams.
Mm-hmm.
This is 660, so it's more than double the weight.
Holy shit, that is heavy.
It's more than half a kilogram. Okay, that's
Kiss
a
your
lot.
wrists goodbye. Holy hell.
Also, the thickness of the Switch.
It's very thick.
The thickness of the Switch is 14 millimeters. This is 49. It is so thick.
But it's because of those hand grips at the back. It's like
it's also true. It's far more ergonomic.
No, you like it's more ergonomic, but the trade-off is that it's a lot thicker. Like you can't just. I mean, look, it's not like that thick, but compared to the Switch, it's going to be a lot harder to slip this into a backpack. For argument's sake.
Although to be fair, IGN they have a video where they went hands-on with this, and both editors that tried it out both said they found it surprisingly comfortable. They both wrote that they were taken aback by its size, but that they found it comfortable. But then again, I recall previews of the Nintendo Switch saying it was comfortable, and then when people played it for more than 30 minutes at a preview event, they realized that, oh wait, this actually fucks up my wrists if I play for like an hour. So take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Preview events are preview events because they're limited. They can only give you so much of the picture.
But I'm with you. I'm excited to see how it does. Like I can't say I'm gonna pick one up.
It would be very hard for us to pick one up
in South Africa. Yeah, but I'd be curious to know because, like, I hear you. You can't optimize. You know, it's Steam Deck. There's going to be different operating systems, different settings, that sort of thing. I would be curious to know that. Wouldn't it be interesting if Steam, for example, so they've got their requirements on their page. I wonder if they would include some sort of Steam Deck section that maybe specifies.
That would be smart. Like
required,
like a recommended set, or even just like this is what you should run the game.
This is how you should run it. Yeah. Like or maybe even I don't know if the developers could have it that you launch a game, it knows it's on a Steam Deck, will default to this pre-set up list of settings because we've tested and this is the most optimized way to run this game on this
I think
hardware.
That would be a great idea.
That makes sense to me. So in that regard, I'm like, that seems kind of cool. Because even then, maybe some devs will try optimize for this specifically, but is it worth their time? Like, I don't know.
You see that's the trade-off. Like, I mean, I don't think it's much more work to have like a selection of settings that is like, this is what we think will give you the best performance on Steam Deck. I don't think, unless this thing blows up in a way that we're not expecting, I don't think PC devs will optimize specifically for this. They'll just be like, given the hardware, we ran it at these settings and we think these are the best, the best experience you'll have. I mean, this is why consoles exist. Consoles exist because of the low barrier to entry. It's like you pop in a game, it works. And even that has become a bit more complicated lately with fidelity and resolution modes, and then you have your HDR and high frame rates, and it feels like console gaming has turned like a corner on that sort of thing, but it's still plug and play, and barring any catastrophes, when you put in a game on a console, it works to a certain degree at a certain level. And that is super not the case on PC. It never is, never will, and that is why PC games, I love playing on PC, but I understand the mission that you have to go through sometimes to get a game running correctly. So
I mean, but even just last thing on this, just for comparison's sake, we all know that the teraflops don't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, but it's interesting just for comparison purposes that they say it's 1.6 teraflops, whereas the Xbox Series X is 12, I think, and the PS5 is 8 or 9.
10.8. This 1.6 is just under the teraflops of the original PlayStation 4.
Yeah. So
that should give you an idea.
Take from that what you will. It is a mobile device. Yeah. So yeah.
Take from that what you will. The good news is that it is AMD, so it will support AMD's like FSR, which is like their scaling resolution that is meant to compete with NVIDIA's DLSS. But I mean, right now FSR is kind of like shit, but
it'll get
will
there.
definitely get better, and that will probably give some life to this thing. But yeah, just keep expectations in check, understand what you're buying into, and I think Nintendo gets away with a lot of this stuff because like they have an underpowered console, yeah, but they have exclusive games that run extremely well on that hardware.
On the underpowered.
Yeah. So no one gives a shit. Like
exactly.
If the Zelda runs good or the Pokemon runs good or the Mario runs good, like who cares how many teraflops that thing is putting out? Yeah.
There we go. Okay. What should we just fly through all the delays that have happened
Yeah,
this week?
there's like 3 delays that all happened this week.
So Rainbow Six Extraction,
from big to small.
Goodbye. Gone till January 2022.
So that is, if you're unfamiliar, it's the sort of like spin-off game for Rainbow Six, where I think it's team of 4 or 3, I'm not sure, fighting like an alien infection.
Yeah.
Seems like we're getting lots of these Left 4 Dead style games suddenly.
It's like a resurgence of them.
Yeah, we got Back 4 Blood coming, we've got the Alien Fire Team 1, and we've got Extraction, so yeah, it was meant to come out, I think, in November. Now it's January 2022.
Hard on its heels, Resident Evil Reverse just delayed to 2022. So now this one is I find the most interesting because this was meant to launch with Village in May.
Yeah, which is crazy.
And I don't know if this delay is a response to...
Didn't Village launch in April?
No, it was May.
Oh God, I need to update an article.
Was it April?
I don't know. It says May, yeah, and I'm like, whoops, did I fuck up?
Yeah, I think it was May.
Oh well.
But for those of you who don't know, again, this is a multiplayer, for all intents and purposes, a very silly looking, albeit fun looking multiplayer shooter thing.
That is meant to like, you got characters from the whole series of games coming in.
Yeah. I mean, I'm keen to try it.
I'm keen to give it a go. I think I've said this before, but that art style rubs me the wrong way. It's
a weird art style.
I really don't like it.
Well, maybe we'll get back to delays in a second.
There's a really iconic screenshot from this game where it's like, I think Jill Valentine aiming a gun at Leon Kennedy while behind her, Jack Baker's about to hit her with a spade, and then just off to the side, you've got one of those like bipedal.
Is it this image?
What are the? No, not this image. It's like an in-game image, but there's like what are those bipedal things you find in the sewers of Remake 2? You know those things?
Yeah.
And it's just like chilling
like
there.
a toad or whatever the hell it is, like a giant.
And you're just like, what is going on in the screenshot? There's so much to unpack here. It's really funny.
It's amazing. But just sticking on Resident Evil quickly, turns out that pirated copy of Resident Evil 8 that people are playing, it runs better than the original.
This just comes back to PC gaming. It's like PC games have DRM that actually tanks performance, and this is a fairly normal thing that has happened for many years. But Village seems to be a completely new degree of fuckery when it comes to this. Digital Foundry did a whole video on this, and they found like the game was like running at high frame rates, but always with micro stutters to the point where it would drop from like 120 frames per second to 30 during some intervals, which is horrible. Like, you're playing a first person shooter, even though it's a much slower one, like those. And the cracked version doesn't have those issues.
So I think even just the fact, like, if you've never experienced micro stutters, it's one thing to be like, don't bitch about it. You still have like 30 FPS. But when you go from super high frames to slower frames back and forth, it is the most infuriating
the worst
thing ever.
The absolute worst. It sucks. Incorrect frame pacing really, really fucking sucks. It's part of the reason why people desperately want a patch for Bloodborne, because that is part of the... it's one of the biggest issues with that. Speaking of Bloodborne, we should play Bloodborne again.
Wait, what is the biggest issue with Bloodborne?
Just the frame pacing. Yeah, the frame pacing.
It's I mean, I've told this story before, but I went from the Demon Souls remake on PS5 straight into Bloodborne, and let me tell you, that was a real jarring experience because that was like, oh, this game's ugly.
Yeah,
comparison,
and it runs way
it's
worse.
Not ugly at all, but just making that jump, I was like, holy shit! Yeah, in the 30 frames, I was like, damn, this game would be
it's not
pure
fantastic.
magic at 60 FPS.
Oh, I wish, man.
You're right, though. We should replay Bloodborne. Going back to delays, Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah,
early 2022.
This seemed inevitable because it's like we haven't seen much of this game since the PlayStation 5 reveal. Like we've seen so much of Deathloop.
I've seen too much of Deathloop.
Yeah,
like, way too much of Deathloop.
But Tango Gameworks, also Bethesda studio, so also now Microsoft studio. They really hadn't shown Ghostwire Tokyo since last year, June. And they kept clinging on to this 2021 release date, and it just seemed like that was not going to happen. So, yeah, this makes sense. I'm not too surprised or sad about this. This game still looks weird as fuck, and I'm here for it. It's just... I couldn't believe when they showed off the trailer that it was like a first-person action game. Like, it was not how I thought it would be.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's like first person throwing out magic and shit at demons in Japan. Like, hell yeah. Look at this. This looks great.
Take my money.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I'm stoked for this.
Yep, so that's been delayed.
It's another one of those weird ones that's coming to PS5 and PC exclusively first, even though it is now technically a Microsoft studio. So
that I assume just pushes out the release date for Xbox by like a year as well.
By about a year, because as far as I know, the Deathloop exclusivity is a year long. So I would assume the same deal applies here. I would imagine like Microsoft is trying everything they can to turn around those contract deals. But I'm sure, contracts are contracts, so it's hard.
They have the best lawyers.
I can't imagine. Yeah, I can't imagine they don't have lawyers looking for ways to get past
like loopholes and stuff.
They don't want this. At the end of the day, they're still making the money from it because they own the studio, but they'd want it on their consoles as
exactly.
well. So, yeah.
Okay.
So those are delays. Do you want to talk about this Nickelodeon Smash Brothers game?
So for all intents and purposes, Nickelodeon looked at Smash and thought, shit, that looks like fun. We have a huge roster of iconic characters. Why don't we just do exactly the same?
I love that they managed to get Brawl and All Stars into the name. So it's like Smash Brothers Brawl and PlayStation All Stars.
Exactly. So if you're watching the trailer, you'll recognize a lot of these characters, which you probably just recognize from your childhood or / adulthood. I mean, we've got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We've got Patrick Star. We've got SpongeBob. We've got
Real Monsters.
Real Monsters. There we go. We've got what's his face, Nigel Thornberry, and it looks exactly like Smash. Honestly, even when there's a part when a character gets hit off the stage, it's got like the exact same explosion. So I'm like, okay,
the smoke trail. Yeah.
So I wonder. We've only got this gameplay with no UI or anything. But I do wonder...
They have the dinosaur from Rugrats. That's amazing.
Exactly. This is like pure nostalgia. You don't care about the game. You just want to be like, they've got Invader Zim.
Invader Zim. What? Danny Phantom. Okay, fuck. I need to play this game.
Now you are where I was yesterday. I was like, damn, I want to play this. It looks...
looks
real good.
This is a banging roster. This is real good. I like this a lot.
But I do wonder in terms of gameplay, Smash is the whole formula of there's a percentage, damage percentage, and the higher the percentage is, the more likely you are to be hit off the map. Now, what is their spin on that? Or are they just going to straight up run with that?
I genuinely think it's just going to run with the same thing. Because just looking at the gameplay, I mean, you've got the smoke trails, like you said.
Exactly.
It looks identical.
The PlayStation what is that game even called? Was it just PlayStation All-Stars?
I think it was PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale or something like that. PlayStation All-Stars Royale.
When that game was announced, it's like, oh my God, it's Sony's version of Smash Brothers. Let me tell you, that game is not Smash Brothers. It had same perspective, huge roster of cool characters, but in terms of mechanically, it just didn't hit.
It also just sucked.
Yeah, it was not great. So, I don't know, the Nickelodeon one looks real cool. So
fun story. The very first time I played a Smash Bros was with Matthew. This was early in my Nintendo Kool-Aid days.
My God.
I just acquired my own 3DS and did not understand what the Smash Brothers was. And I was at a Chinese restaurant with Matthew for Garth's birthday. I think it was Garth's birthday.
It was a good time.
And we just played Smash there. And I was introduced to the fuckery that is Kirby in Super Smash Bros.
It's so good. Kirby's the best, man. Don't speak shit about my
nonsense.
Kirby. What other news do we have? Nope, that is not.
You still had that old green, like not green, like a metallic blue-green 3DS.
No, that wasn't mine. I've got the white one. I have the OG little one. The blue one, I think Garth has the blue one.
Maybe I was playing on his then.
Yeah, maybe. I don't remember. So this week, is it this coming week? EA Play is happening.
July 22nd. So
month
Thursday.
after E3, these dudes are doing their own thing. And apparently there's no Star Wars news or games being revealed at EA Play.
A bit surprising.
No Jedi Fallen Order 2? Sad face.
Yeah, that's the one thing I thought of. If there was going to be a Star Wars thing, it would be like an acknowledgement, because I think they've said that they're working on another one, but they haven't, officially announced it. But I thought we'd see something.
That game's definitely getting a sequel.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. I don't think that's a question. But as the article points out here from IGN, they could be reserving a lot of this news for Star Wars Celebration later this year, which would make sense. So yeah.
Is it some Knights of the Old Republic? Question mark, maybe?
Yeah, Ubisoft's also making a Star Wars game. Now that it's not just EA in charge of that property, I think it's a lot more exciting to have different teams on there. And stuff,
I want to see other people's spins on this universe. Though there's so much Star Wars now, it's very difficult to keep up.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad that the movies are taking a break, and that we're getting still some Star Wars stuff in terms of the series. Like The Mandalorian is really fun, and the Bad Batch, which is like the Clone Wars spin-off, is quite fun too. So yeah, we're still getting it here and there, but like it doesn't matter if we don't get a Star Wars game this year. That's pretty fun. Yeah. EA Play should be fun. Hopefully get to see that whatever that Dead Space thing is. It would be real funny if there's no Dead Space there. That would be fucking hilarious.
Well, do you think that is it? So do you not think there's another surprise lined up?
No, I don't think so. I think they're going to use this space to be like, hey, look at FIFA. Hey, look at Battlefield.
We've got Pele.
Yeah, we hired Pele again
for the fourth time.
He joins us on Zoom. Oh my God. No, Pele, you're muted. Please,
no,
Pele, please. No, Pele, now you turned off your camera. Oh fuck.
Oh no. And then the last piece of news for this week, Persona is teasing 7 announcements for its 25th anniversary. That's a lot of announcements.
Hell yeah, let's go. Fucking hell yeah. Can you believe 25th anniversary Persona? Who would have thunk?
Are you getting a Persona 6?
I would not be shocked if there is a announcement of 6 and then it doesn't come out forever, because that is the MO. Like 5 took years to eventually come out after being announced. So I suspect we'll get a logo, as is usual for these sorts of things for Persona 6. The thing that I think most people want, again, no idea if it will happen, is a Persona 3 re-release or remake.
For modern platforms, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Because, I mean, they put out Persona 4 Golden on PC fairly recently, and that was previously a Vita exclusive. And they didn't really do much to touch it up, but that game's still fantastic. So if they do something similar for Persona 3 just to make it a bit more accessible, that'd be great. Yeah. I don't know, 7 games, there'll probably be another dancing game.
Of course,
maybe another arena fighter, because they did have Persona 4 Arena, which was a fighter, so maybe that. So, yeah.
I can't believe that this franchise is 25 years old.
Yeah, it feels like it only really hit the mainstream with Persona 5, to be honest. Like, it's always been there, but the fact that everyone knows what a Persona is now was definitely not the case before 5.
Definitely. I mean, was it E3 or Gamescom we were at? I think that is pre-Persona 5 days. There was like a whole booth with Persona 5, and I was like,
what is this?
Why is everyone swarming around this this exhibition?
Oh, even me, I remember seeing Persona 5 for the first time, being like, what the fuck is this? Like, this looks ridiculous. And that's what like spurred me on to give Persona 4 a try. And then I fell in love with it.
And now look at you.
Yeah, now I love Persona 5 as well. So, yeah. Real Kool-Aid man right here.
I think that is all of the news for this week. We've got some hardware delays, no Star Wars, Persona, and a Smash ripoff.
Oh, yeah.
Which might be good. We'll have to see.
Maybe they'll announce Persona 5 for Switch. That'd be cool.
That would be very cool because then maybe I'll actually play it.
Put Persona Collection on Switch because Persona 4 can run on Switch. Persona 3 can run on Switch.
That's too many hundreds of hours of games. I can't.
That is a lot of game. That is a lot of game.
Good Lord. Shall we get to some questions?
If you want to send us questions, you can email us checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com. That is checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com. I have to articulate more now because I don't know how fucked up my speech is.
Articulate.
Currently.
You sound fine to me. I've not noticed any difference.
Yeah, but you're a nice person. You wouldn't tell me otherwise. So
I would. I'll tell you. You sound like a fool. You don't.
You can also find us on our social platforms at Checkpoint Chat on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of those. So, yeah.
All of the places.
What have we got this week?
Okay, let's start with poor Keegan, who asked a question like 3 weeks ago. I forgot about
Best
it.
to bash.
I just kept forgetting about it. I'm the worst, I know. So he asks, what were your dress outcomes for the War Marker chapters? I had Tifa in the silver, Aerith in the red, and Aerith's friend in blue-black.
So I didn't know that you could get different options.
There's a trophy tied to that. You get a trophy for unlocking all 3 dresses for each character, which involves you just look, it's admin, but you can...
You do a chapter select.
You can just do chapter select and go do stuff. So the way it works...
So run me through the options, because now I actually don't know which I had.
So I know I had the best options for each, because the way it works is you get a dress. I mean, this is the most obscure thing, but the dress you get is determined on the number of side quests you've done throughout.
I did all of them. So
yeah, so if you did all of like Aerith's side quests, if you did all of Tifa's side quests in one of the early chapters, and then there's another chapter that has more. If you've done all of them, you'll get the, inverted commas, best dresses. So let me look it up quickly. But I mean, we both got the best in our take because we did, all of the side quests.
Yeah, so my Aerith was red.
Yes, same.
My Aerith friend was black and blue.
I also had black and blue.
Tifa was... See, I can't remember Tifa.
Hang on, let me pull this up for you.
Was it like a blue-purple or something? Let's see. Yes, that's what Tifa had.
This is one. Yeah. I think I also had this one.
That dark blue. Okay, Tifa definitely did not have those for me. Yeah, she looks like Chun-Li in the other one.
Yeah, the hairstyle like that. So if I'm not mistaken, I think this was also what she had in the original. Aerith had the red dress in the original as well, and then Cloud had.
But all of those 3 red dresses look. Okay, no wait, those top 2 look more pink.
Yeah. So this one's funny.
She had the red dress.
You get this one. It's like a very old school. It almost looks like antique dress if you don't do any of his side quests. And then people make comments like, "What's up with your dress?"
Yes, when I was walking through the city with Aerith, everyone was just gawking at Aerith. It was crazy.
Yeah. So I think we all got the best. So red, and then on Cloud I had this one.
Oh wow, that purple one is amazing. Love
this one.
Absolutely love that. Yeah, I got the black and blue.
Yeah, so we had the same.
I think my favorite part of that is like as soon as Cloud gets tricked into dressing like that, you have this very small segment where you play as Aerith and you're walking up to Cloud and just like, hey Cloud, and he just walks away from you.
I love that they put that in.
It's so funny.
Completely unnecessary, but so good.
Yeah, completely unnecessary, but just fucking hilarious. Yeah, real good.
So Keegan said he had Tifa in the silver, which means
He must have missed something.
He must have missed a side quest. I don't know.
Listen, I think I missed stuff because, like, I know there's a trophy tied to getting a Chocobo and Moogle summon, and I never got that Moogle summon.
I can't remember where you get it from, but yeah, you need to go back.
There was no one else to fight from creepy
it might be tied to, there's one section in the slums where, it's like a breakaway area where the kids are hanging out.
Oh, the hideout, yeah.
Yeah, isn't there? I think there's a kid dressed as a Moogle, but I don't know if it's tied to that.
Maybe,
I could be wrong.
I wonder if you buy it from him for Moogle medals.
Don't know.
That would make sense because you buy everything Moogle associated from that kid.
From that person, yeah. This is funny because Megs pops up in Twitter. It says, "Who's Eric's friend?" Spoiler. It's Cloud.
Yeah, spoiler. It is Cloud.
So Megs asks, are you guys interested in getting a Steam Deck? So we basically answered this earlier. I'd love to have one, but I have no intentions. No intent.
I have no intention of paying a premium to import it. Put it that way.
Yeah.
And if it was available locally, I'd consider it, maybe.
If I didn't have a cool PC, maybe. But look, I think the most lucrative thing of the the Steam Deck for me is the fact that I can buy it and have my entire library there. And I know games are cheap if they're on sale. Like, that's really cool.
Just to imagine how expensive that thing would be locally. The $300 Switch is 8,000 Rand here.
No, thank you. Let's not. The PS5 and Xbox, which we've said, the top of the range, $500, it's 12 grand. How much is it?
So your $650...
You're looking at like probably 14 or 15, if not more.
If not more.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That would definitely make me triple, quadruple guess that. Especially when, like you said, it is not a need. Not even close to being a need.
Even the Nintendo OLED, I'm like, I'd love to have one, but I cannot justify buying one.
I can't. No.
There's no need to.
Unless I find like a wicked price, like selling my original Switch or something, like there's no reason.
Exactly.
No reason.
Okay. Migs, so this isn't, although, wait, is this a question? So he says, so I took your recommendation to watch The Office USA. First season, cringe, look away.
Yeah, the first season sucks. The first season really sucks.
Second season, hand wavy. Third season, stopped after 3 episodes. I just didn't like it much, maybe because I never worked for such an environment, or I've never worked in such an environment, so I can't relate. For sitcom reference, I like Scrubs. So The Office is one of those shows where I acknowledge that it's not for everyone. Like, I know some people watch it and think it's like just dumb. It's just
Shani
stupid.
hates it. She thinks it's so dumb.
It can't. Okay. End that. But let me tell you, The Office is one of those things where, like, Meg's watched to season 3, so I can't say like give it time because you've clearly given it time.
No. If you didn't like the second season by then, it's
one of those things that if it clicks, it is like one of the funniest shows. Like, I think Lenska and I, we for the first time ever, we watched every season because I watched the first 3 seasons a few years ago and just never finished it. So she had never seen it. So we started watching it and we just inhaled all the seasons and we laughed so hard. More the fact that, like, it's funny, yes, but more the fact that Michael just says the most, like,
it's ridiculous.
You gasp, you're like, I can't believe he said that. And like, that's where I got the enjoyment from.
Even today, like, it's like, at the time, it was a very different time as well. And even then, it was like, wow, he said that. And today, by today's context, you're like, holy fucking shit, how did this get written? Yeah. But it's got these moments of just wholesomeness. Like, I'm pretty sure anyone who's watched it will tell you Jim and Pam have like an incredible arc throughout the entire series.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You should get on that Parks and Rec. If you enjoyed The Office, it's very much the same. It's done by the same people, so very similar
vibes,
in ways, but it's also very funny. Amy Palmer is just incredible. Love her.
And then last question from Megs. He asked, what is your preferred hot or cold chocolate powder drink? Is it Nesquik, Milo, generic hot chocolate, bar one, or something that I've not mentioned here?
Bar one? They make a bar one.
There must be like a bar one sachet or something.
I've never seen that.
I'd love to try. It must be packed with sugar, but I'll
seen
give it a try.
I've seen a Cadbury's one, which I think is maybe imported. I don't know, but I've never seen a bar one. Interesting. I'd try that.
My guilty pleasure is there's like a Nestle cappuccino sachets. They come in like so many different forms now, but my favorite is the unsweetened just cappuccino. It's just a sachet, and it just tastes real good. I mean, it'll never be a proper coffee replacement, but it's like a guilty pleasure that I'm trying.
Yeah, I mean, it's much easier than buying a cappuccino machine and making your cappuccino.
Yeah. Also costs like 5 or 6 rand a sachet, depending on.
It's fairly cheap.
A lot cheaper than buying pods.
I really don't like the what Mix calls like the OG hot chocolate that comes in like the red container that you mix with water. Like, I think hot chocolate with water sucks. Like, I really hate it. And they used to give it to us at school a lot, and I'd be like, oh, I'd just be like sad, because it's just like watery chocolate. I don't like it. I like okay, so if you're making Milo, I quite like Milo. That needs like half water, half milk, so you get that creaminess. It's good. But for me, nothing beats Nesquik. Like, cold Nesquik is one of the best drinks on this earth, and it as a hot chocolate, delicious as well. Love it. I have not had Nesquik in a long time because I was made aware of how much sugar is in there, and it is terrifying.
Packed. It's packed with
But
sugar.
as a kid, I used to inhale that fucking stuff. There was always Nesquik at my house, and I know we're talking about hot drinks, and yes, I would have hot drinks in winter, but a cold glass of Nesquik,
that hits any time.
Tough to beat. Yeah.
Good Lord.
Horlicks is actually pretty good as well, even though
Horlicks has also been around for a long time.
It's very warm. It makes me feel happy inside. I've had a Horlicks milkshake before, and that's real fucking good.
I've never had. I'm sure I've had that actually. Who knows?
I think Milo edges out Nesquik as a hot drink, though. Milo. There are monsters who will tell you that Milo can be drunk in cold milk. They are wrong. It does not dissolve.
Yeah, it doesn't dissolve properly. Unless you could have the little carton of Milo, which is like
that's fine. Milo. Yeah, that's fine. But like on the actual tin, it's like, oh, you can have this cold milk. They are lying to you.
They've also changed the Milo formula in recent years.
Have they? I haven't had it in a long time.
My friend Quinton, who you also know, is like a big Milo fan, big Milo advocate, and he's like, this new Milo is just not cutting it.
They've done the new Coke thing to Milo.
They've done something, yeah.
Fuck.
But yeah, that's the hot drinks. You hate to see it. Did you see the picture I put up on our Instagram story?
No.
You get this here? Oh, not that.
Oh, is that Luna and Lupin?
Oh, look at this.
It's
like, give us your questions.
Is that Luna?
That's Luna.
It looks like Luna.
So we have 2 questions from Cello. He says, number 1.
God.
Give me that Formula 1 prediction and what will happen in sprint race if this is recorded on Saturday. So
I don't know, man. Okay, so in Formula 2, they have for a very long time had this thing where they have qualifying on a Friday, and then they have what they call sprint qualifying or a sprint race on Saturday. So essentially, the qualifying determines your starting position for the sprint race, and then the top 10 finishes in the sprint race get reversed for the feature race on Sunday. The
actual race, okay.
Or something like. At one point, the grid gets reversed. I can't remember where it is. And you get fewer points. The sprint race is a shorter race. You get fewer points. But it's just like an additional race on the weekend and makes the qualifying for the main race a bit more dynamic. So they're trying that for Formula 1, albeit without any of the grid swapping. So
yeah, I was just gonna say, isn't there like strategy and then like not doing so well in the sprint race to get a better?
Straight up, there is. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're not doing that. They're trialing this in Formula 1. So this is the first time they're doing it. So they had qualifying yesterday, and that determined the grid for the sprint race today, and then the finishing order for the race today determines the grid for tomorrow. So you have unknowns like. say one of the front runners crashes in the race, they'll start at the back for the main race. That's something that would never happen really with qualifying. So yeah, it's interesting. Hamilton qualified first yesterday, which was a big shock, but it was such an exciting qualifying session. So I don't know. I think for the sprint race, we're going to see Hamilton, Verstappen, Norris. And then for the main race, also Hamilton, also Verstappen, and probably Bottas.
Sure. This little wild card in the side there.
Yeah. I think Hamilton's got this weekend in the bag. He just looks so strong. So we'll see.
It's been hitting the gym.
We shall see.
And then last question this week. Besides Sandy being scared of facing me in Trackmania, what other fears do you have?
Wow. What the fuck? This guy.
What phobia do you have? Is it a chillophobia?
I have a phobia of considering cello a friend.
Wow. Amazing.
I'm not scared. I was just busy. I have work. It made me sad. I did watch some of the highlights of your Trackmania shenanigans. It looked fun.
God.
I mean,
it's good fun.
You had to have, I felt bad that on your team you guys had to carry cello the whole time.
It's true.
Yeah.
I was MVP all the time.
Hate to see it.
Okay.
What fears I do want to play that. It looks real fun. What fears do I have? Spiders. I do not like spiders.
Yeah.
I have a big fear of spiders.
I don't think I have when I think of a fear, I don't think I have like arachnophobia. I don't tense up or start sweating profusely if I see a spider, but I do not like spiders. I'm just like, God damn it, they're ugly. Get away from me. But you've got a straight up fear.
Yeah,
but you have a reason for you being scared of spiders. Like you have an actual horror story.
Well, no, so I was always scared of them. I'd never really liked them. But when I was 13, I went White River rafting for my birthday. Real fun. Should do that again. My dad thought it would be real funny to push my mum and I on our raft off to a different path of the ravine, which in hindsight seems fairly fucking dangerous. Considering he had no idea what was down that. Yeah. Anyway, we got stuck in some like river reeds that obviously then we needed to push open with like the oars because otherwise the boat wasn't moving. So as soon as we started doing that, tons of spiders started falling on us on the boat everywhere. And they were crawling all over us. And I don't remember much. All I remember is freezing and my mom telling me that I needed to help because she couldn't do it alone. And then she kind of realized what happened and I legitimately did not move for a couple of minutes after that. Real fucking terror. It was one of those moments where I was completely cognizant of what was happening, but I could not.
But you just couldn't move.
My body was straight up in a flight situation and was not receiving messages from my brain. It just went into a fetal position mode.
Oh my God.
Super not fun. So
did you come out of the ravine?
If I see a baby spider on the wall at home, like I'm not gonna run out of the room. I will just be very aware of it and I do not want it to come near me or disappear or
That's my thing. Just stay in sight. The moment it disappears, I'm like, hang on. Where did you go? Where did you go?
And big spiders freak me out. Like those big fleshy rain spiders. As soon as they start moving.
It's something about the way they move that I don't like. They just
there's some psychology behind it. I read an interesting article because my mom is petrified of snakes.
I have snakes, yeah.
Of snakes, yeah. So I read up on some studies that were done. I can't remember which university it was at, but a lot of the fear of I don't know what the phobia is for snakes. But basically, snakeophobia, python phobia. A lot of the fear comes through our brain's inability to understand how they generate momentum and movement. Yeah. So because we don't understand it, our brain goes into a fight or flight mechanism, and that translates into fear.
Yeah.
Because as soon as we can't understand or explain something, we fear it. And
Body just
that
goes, I'm panicking.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And that is the same as spiders, because we find the movement of the 8 legs confusing, I guess. Our brain's like, I understand how a spider moves, but the brain is just like,
What's going on?
But that makes sense. The fear of the unknown. That it makes perfect sense. So,
but just in terms of movement, there's another interesting nugget of information that my father-in-law told me, is that if you ever notice that dogs can sometimes be weirdly aggressive to children, it's because of the way they move. They're unpredictable, which makes the dogs like on edge. Because I mean, as an adult, you'll like walk in a straight line, for example, just do whatever. Whereas kids can be, unbalanced or doing whatever the whole
kids walking
do.
to the wall. What is it doing?
And that apparently is why dogs can sometimes, even though it could be like the calmest dog, they can sometimes be aggressive to children because they're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, they don't know what they're doing. Yeah. No, I completely, and also some parents are fucking stupid and I hate it. They have a baby and they're like, oh, the baby pulling on the dog's ears. Don't let the fucking baby do that. The dog is a dog. It doesn't understand that the baby's being cute. It's going to be like, if it gets hurt or like has space issues, it's going to murder this baby. What are you afraid of? I don't think we got to that. Was it just spiders as well?
I don't have. Yeah, look, I don't like spiders, but I don't have any hardcore fears. Like there's nothing that comes to mind where I go, oh, I'm scared of enclosed spaces, or I'm claustrophobic, or I've got fear of heights, and like I don't have anything like that. I don't think. I do have things I don't like, but it's not an actual fear. Like I don't like spiders, but I don't consider myself arachnophobic, because I'm not gonna, like you said, run out of a room if I see one. It's just like, oh, that just makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm not in a good space right now. Yeah. Do you remember? I mean, I'm sure everyone went through this, but like as a kid, just being afraid of the dark. Like,
100%.
I don't recall the moment in my life where that just like clicked over, and I like it's not something you're scared of.
Resident Evil 1 when I was far too young to play Resident Evil 1, and that shit terrified me. It's like, I don't want to go to bed. It's dark.
I remember not owning a PS1, and I played at a friend of mine named Dylan. He had a PS1, and we played that, typical children's shit, playing it in the dark, in the middle of the night. Bad times.
Rookie mistake.
Not great. Not great at all.
Yeah. But that's it. That is all of the questions for this week.
Yeah, if you want to send us questions, you can also email us, checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on all our social media platforms, at Checkpoint Chat on Twitter, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram. Ask us questions anytime. Absolutely
all of the things. Anytime.
All of the things.
And any of the questions. It's fun. We'll take them. We'll field all of them.
And that's been episode 152 of Checkpoint Chat. We're in this thing again where we're making very long episodes again. We did this for a while, and then we reined it in. I don't know what's going on.
It's because we spoke about Final Fantasy VII again. Oh my god, Lupin's falling off my lap.
Lupin's like, no.
He was. He's like completely passed out. He was just sliding off. Oh, nice.
You were Scar and he was Mufasa. You just fucking murdered him.
I saved him though. Holy shit. Yes, he was out. That's episode 152. It's very long. Apologies for that.
Has been very long.
We appreciate it if you made it this far.
Yes, as always, if you listen in any capacity, on any platform, on YouTube, on Spotify, on iTunes, on Google Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, wherever.
All of the places.
We appreciate you. And we'd appreciate if you give us a like and a subscribe and a comment. It helps. It helps us reach those new people, man. But yes, thank you so much. And
like
as always,
to meet new people.
Oh, what?
We'd like to meet new people. We're always out to meet new people.
Yeah, especially we've been in our homes for so long. So
I know. Come on, give us new listeners. Cool. But yeah,
we
that's 152.
will be back as always next week. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great week. Goodbye.
No, you. Goodbye.